Professor Body Slide by One. And that's a 90s Marvel Comics Cable reference. His technology, which he named the Professor, used to teleport him around. Well, hopefully Cable is relaxing somewhere, checking out his AliExpress 90s counterpart. Why do I call him a counterpart from AliExpress? Well, I got him from AliExpress, and just look at him. Big guns, pouches, and more 90s attitude than you can shake a stick at. It's the man called Cabbot from Rob Liefield's comic Bloodstrike. And the action figure version from Loose Collector, so strap yourself in, grab your favourite snacks, and let's talk about him. So, here Cabbot is out of the box. And first impressions, he's really good, he's not perfect, and there's a few constructive criticisms I'd make. But essentially what this feels like is a premium figure, perhaps like a modern update to what Toy Biz were doing back in the day with their comic book Heroes line. And arguably you could even say that it's like the best version of a Hasbro Marvel Legend. But I feel the Toy Biz era stuff had this kind of aesthetic and feel, but this figure is much more updated articulation and feels premium. So if you like buckles and pouches, then you're in luck. Feet are included, surprisingly, as Rob Liefeld isn't exactly known for drawing those, but they are here. So let me know, have you heard of Cabbot before? Have you read any Rob Liefeld comics? I read X-Force in the 90s when Rob Liefeld was at Marvel, and Cabbot really feels like he could join the X-Force team. And most of his team Bloodstrike are reflections of Marvel X-Men characters, arguably, so he will look right at home next to your X-Men Marvel Legends, arguably. Although he will also look much better by comparison to them. And he should, as he's a $70 to $80 figure. And in fact, let's do just that and have a look at Marvel Legends Deadpool on the Sasquatch Builder figure wave, I believe, next to Cabbot. So this is essentially your not Cable, but really Cable character next to Deadpool, another of Rob Liefeld's creations. I personally prefer 90s Deadpool to modern Deadpool, too much breaking the fourth wall in modern Deadpool for me. And Cabbot is available on both Big Bad Toy Store and AliExpress at the time of this video. So if you like the look of him, you can pick him up from either of those places. And I'll leave a link for both in the comments below. I picked up my copy from AliExpress. And the 90s Merc, with a mouth never looked better next to Cable Stone. Sorry, I mean Cabbot Stone. And I'm really interested to see what other Liefeld characters Loose Collector has on the way. We will see some more Bloodstrike characters on Cabbot's packaging. That's the team that Cabbot is a member of. And I have Bloodwolf on the way from AliExpress now after getting Cabbot Stone in hand. So that might give you a clue as to how I feel about this figure. And Cable and Wolverine have tangled and also partnered up in Marvel Comics. So why not pair up CT Toys Tiger Stripe Wolverine with Cabbot Stone? It's Knockoff City around here. Well, CT Toys is obviously a tribute that's probably a nice way of saying it to Mafex Wolverine figures. And Cabbot Stone as a character is a tribute to Marvel's Cable. Of course, we don't have any Cabbot Stone action figures previously, and so this Loose Collector version is the first of its kind. It's also the first Loose Collector figure in my collection. And it's an impressive offering, I must say, not perfect if I were to nitpick, but there really is a lot to like here. You're only expendable if you can die. And Cabbot Stone just can't stay down. So Wolverine might be the best there is at what he does, but Cabbot Stone is already looking very solid next to these Marvel Legends, X-Force and CT Toys Wolverine theme comparisons.
And you could argue that CT Toys Tiger Stripe Wolverine jumps straight off the pages of Jim Lee X-Men artwork, and Cabbot Stone seems to jump straight out of the comics. Although the artwork by Rob Liefeld on the back of the box does look aesthetically different to the action figure, but that is somewhat understandable. This is more of an interpretation into action figure form rather than a different recreation, which Mafex and CT Toys are more known for with their figures.
And here's Cabbot next to my version of Big Boa from G.I. Joe Classified. My favourite character from G.I. Joe. I repainted the helmet, the Cobra logos on the boxing gloves, and the chest harness with a Gundam silver marker. I let it look a bit worn, but this version of Big Boa will be seen a lot in videos going forward, and I'm planning to make him a mascot of the channel. Anyway, here's my comparison with Loose Collector's Liefeld Cabbot Stone next to G.I. Joe Classified. and Canley and X-Force tend to be a bit of a military wing of the X-Men, so it's only fitting a Cable tribute character could fit into fantasy military action figure displays. I think Cabbot will go great with your G.I. Joe Classified, Valorverse Action Force and Operation Monster Force, as well as your Marvel Legends displays.
So let's have a look at the packaging, and there's some lovely artwork on my box. You can clearly see the word Bloodstrike and Rob Liefeld on the front with some artwork of Cabbot and a window to display the figure itself and all of his accessories. And it's certainly a big box, but it does action figure packaging right. Everything is on show. The artwork is reserved for the sides and back of the box, and we will get to that. No windowless packaging here, friend. It's quite a big box as well, but then it probably needs to be to hold these beefy figures and all their accessories.
And this is a good time to say, if you're enjoying my review of loose collector Rob Liefield Cabbot Stone, please smash that like button. Feel free to comment on your favourite Image Comics characters from the 90s or present day that you would like to see in action figure form, and consider subscribing, and if you can, please feel free to become a channel member to unlock exclusive content.
So that was a look at the top of my box, and then over to the side, and we get some lovely artwork of Cabbot Stone to adorn both sides of the packaging.
That's if we can keep the packaging upright. And then we get a short bio for Cabbot Stone on the back of the box, to give you a brief introduction to the character, and also showcase some other characters from the team Bloodstrike, which no doubt we will be getting as loose collector action figures at some point in the future.
And the write-up reads, "Little is known about Cabbot Stone's background. Well, that makes two of us. He was born with the new gene strain in his blood. So I guess that's Rob Liefield's version of the X gene. He's died but been reanimated as part of a government project. So he's technically undead. Well, he looks pretty good for the undead. You should seen some of the undead in that other Image Comics property. The Walking Dead, they look worse for wear. And Cabbot is the leader of Bloodstrike, the team he is on. So no doubt more of these Marvel and DC inspired characters are on the way from Loose Collector, and I, for one, am here for it."
And as well as the character biography on the back of the box, we get a short description of what the character comes with, in other words his accessories, including a BAG, or big ass gun as it's known, and where would we be without a 90s character with one of those? But we shall have a look at his accessories a little later on in the video.
So let's have a look at Cabbot Stone's articulation. And the head can look up and down and left to right a decent amount. Bear in mind the ponytail will limit some head and articulation. The arms go out to a T pose, but they were a little stiff on my copy out of the package. And I did have to heat them up. The arms do come out at the butterfly joint though to make the jacket removable. So if you articulate the arms into a T pose a few times after heating, the articulation will smoothen up a bit. There's a decent ab crunch at the waist, not too hindered by the vest, what look like ball-jointed hips, but decent smooth articulation like a thigh cut, double-jointed elbows and knees, boot cuts and ankle rockers. No toe hinge, unfortunately, which might have helped with balance issues when Cabbot has the big guns plugged into his back as he can become top-heavy. For the most part, a very smooth, solid articulation scheme.
So here's the AB crunch being utilized as we speak. Pretty decent even with the vest on. We are getting a look at the figure from all different angles, and as you can see the AB crunch works well. Cabbot Stone can kick out to the side a decent amount, and as mentioned the hips have that look like they are ball jointed, but are in fact a thigh cut. I wasn't initially a fan of the design of the thigh hip articulation at first, which isn't on any other loose collector figure, but it's grown on me.
And here's the double-jointed knees in action. So as mentioned, one constructive criticism I found was that the arms were a bit stiff to get into a T-pose initially. Perhaps it might have just been my copy, but with some heat and working the joints they began to move much more smoothly.
And so that's the articulation. It's pretty smooth overall. You can get him into lots of good poses even if you don't generally pose your figures in your display, or do any toy photography. His design so that is very easy to pose and play around with out of the box. I would have preferred more smooth motion on the arms and T-pose articulation, but that can be easily fixed. Now let's have a look at all the accessories that Cabbot Stone comes with. And just before we look at Cabbot Stone's accessories, I have the Marvel Legends, Juggernaut from the Colossus, and Juggernaut 2-pack out on the floor whilst I'm recording, and the hip joints look similar to Cabbot Stone. So there you go. Maybe it works better for bigger characters, I don't know. Anyway, on to the accessories. So let's have a look at Cabbot stone weapons and accessories. And he comes with 2 guns. These are big, but he does have a bigger gun. So the guns look very science fiction, and typical 90s style, where they don't seem to be based on any real current weaponry, but are more in line with the idea of advanced weaponry or futuristic looking guns, as was the style of Rob Liefeld and many other artists at the time in the 90s. As you see here, he comes with a knife that could skin the Yeti. Crocodile Dundee would be proud. Cabbot stone comes with what can be considered a hand pistol or smaller pistol, and then the biggest gun he comes with, or the BAG. And this gun is so big that when you plug it into his back, it may make Cabbot a bit top heavy. So you have plenty of options on how to kit out your Cabbot stone figure.
And then we also get an alternative head sculpt, with more of a stoic look, and I've noticed that Cabbot stone looks like Cable as mentioned, but he has the eye design similar to Domino but in a red color scheme. It's almost like Rob Liefeld took bits he liked of Cable, others from Dominio, and threw in his one style into the mix and came up with his own character Cabbot stone.
And then Cabbot comes with a few different sets of hands. Out of the package, Cabbot has the fisted or punching hands on the figure. I've swapped those out for the trigger finger hands. He also has the knife gripping hands. The knife can also be held in the trigger hands, and then open palm hands, or splayed out hands as they are also known.
So those are the fisted hands on display there, good for punching Marvel characters, which I'm sure Rob Liefeld will love, and then the splayed out hands, for those jazz hands moments, and the knife gripping hands as mentioned.
Let me know in the comments below, do you use all the hand options that come with high-end action figures? A lot of collectors complain when, say for example, a Marvel Legend only comes with 1 set of hands, especially if those collectors are into toy photography and want options. But I tend to find I'll put various different sets of hands that come with a figure into a bag and never use them again, unless it's a martial arts character, or something like that uses different hand options a lot. So there's the jazz hands and knife gripping hands on display. As I say, these will go into a bag for me, never to be used again. It's nice to have these options for value for money. But I tend to play with my figures with the same set of hands on them, especially if they are characters that hold guns. I leave the trigger finger hands on. So that's the hand options and alternative head sculpts that come with Cabbot stone, plenty to choose from, and let's take a close-up look at the character.
So the one thing that's noticeable straight away is all the lovely paint apps that are on this figure, lots of different shades of brown on the uniform, and some nice skin tones shades on the arms, a dash of yellow and gold mixed into some armor parts, and it makes for a really all-round nice look and presentation on the figure, which can really pop in your display.
And there appear to have been other costumes or characters that have held the Cabbot title, or Bloodstrike I believe. So we will no doubt get other variations of the character from Loose Collector. So here is a look at the figure head on and from the side. And we will also have a look at the rear and the other side, just so you can see all angles of the figure. And if you're curious about picking him up, this might help influence your decision, seeing all the fine details up close. So yeah, if like me you've been admiring Loose Collector action figures from afar so far, but you collect Marvel Legends, or any 6-inch action figure line, and remember Toy Biz figures, or 90s comics, I'd say definitely pick at least one of these up. Bloodwolf is also available, and I'll be getting him as well, and probably doing a review for him as well.
Thanks, Libby. So there's Cabbot stone with all his accessories. What I really like about these 90s image superheroes is they have a very fantasy, military and tactical vibe to them compared to Marvel and DC characters of the time. And even nowadays, which really fits in with my collection of G.I. Joe Classified and Operation Monster Force, although both Cabbot and Bloodwolf would look at home next to a Marvel Legends X-Force display, although those figures would look less striking by comparison in my opinion.
So if you're enjoying this review of Cabbot, let me know in the comments what other non-Marvel or DC characters would make for good action figures. Invincible would be good. I'd like to see Loose Collector do the figures rather than Diamond Select, or Savage Dragon could be great, both Image Comics characters.
And let me know what Loose Collector figures you have in your collection, if any. We have had a lot of female characters, and a few pulp heroes like the Rocketeer. I'm hoping for a lot more Rob Liefeld stuff from Loose Collector. The over-the-top larger-than-life nature of these characters is absolutely great.
And for a while I've thought artist-inspired action figures would be great. We have had that in the past here and there. Essentially, Mafek's X-Men are Jim Lee X-Men designs in action figure form. And so it's great to see Rob Liefeld getting the same treatment with these Loose Collector figures, inspired by his artwork. So, if you're enjoying this review of Cabbot overall, please let me know your thoughts and opinions in the comments below. And let's do some comparisons with Cabbot and some other action figure lines in 1/12 scale.
Thanks, Mark. And here's Cabbot Stone next to a G.I. Joe classified Cobra Trooper. And we have seen Cabbot facing off against a few of these guys earlier in the video. So if you want to pit Cabbot against your 6-inch military figures from Hasbro, here you go. And here's Cabbot next to a DC Multiverse Green Lantern from Mattel. And the McFarlane DC Multiverse are bigger than these Mattel DC figures, and I'd personally have liked these DC figures from Mattel to continue. But if you have any of these, here's how they stack up next to Loose Collector's Liefield figures. So here's a look at Loose Collector Cabbot next to Black Series Clone Trooper Arc Trooper, and he towers over them a bit. But that's okay, it suits the nature of the character. To be an undead government super being type, you're probably going to tower over regular-sized people. And here's Cabbot next to the Lighting Collection TMNT Green Ranger Shredder, in my opinion the best character from the TMNT Power Rangers crossover. And it's a shame this line has been cancelled by Hasbro, but let's see what Playmates have for the future of Power Rangers.
And this is a good time to say, if you're enjoying my review of Loose Collector Rob Liefield Cabbot Stone, please smash that like button. Feel free to comment on your favourite Image Comics characters from the 90s or present day that you would like to see in action figure form, and consider subscribing, and if you can, please feel free to become a channel member to unlock exclusive content. And here's Cabbot next to a NECA Predator. And if Cabbot had been on Arnie's team, perhaps we might have seen a different outcome going up against the Predator. So if you haven't got time to bleed, you can always pit your Loose Collector Rob Liefield figures up against the NECA Predators for some epic toy photography. I'm gonna have me some fun!
And finally, let's compare Cabbot to McFarlane Spawn, both Image Comics characters. So you can build out a little Image Comics shelf if you want to, good times. And Wildcats would be fun in action figure form, although Todd McFarlane might do those as part of the DC Multiverse at some point. Or Youngblood would be amazing in action figure form. So you never know, more exciting characters in action figure form to come.
And Cabbot is a tribute to Marvel Comics Cable, and we've recently had Cable in Marvel Legends. And speaking of Marvel Legends, for all the latest Marvel Legends news and reviews, check out Dan Who Reviews, and feel free to check out all these great YouTubers and independent UK and international retailers for action figures. If you want any further details, let me know in the comments below, and I'll add the details as per your requests. And this is a good time to say, if you're enjoying my review of Loose Collector Rob Liefield Cabbot Stone, please smash that like button. Feel free to comment on your favourite Image Comics characters from the 90s or present day that you would like to see in action figure form, and consider subscribing, and if you can, please feel free to become a channel member to unlock exclusive content. So that's it. Overall, I think Cabbot Stone is a fantastic figure. He has a few things like the arms in a T-pose which were a bit stiff on my copy out of the box, but that's easily fixable. This is a great start for my first Loose Collector figure, and I'm definitely looking forward to Blood Wolf and seeing what Loose Collector has in store for more Liefield characters. But what did you think? I think he scores a solid 8 out of 10, but I'm really enjoying him, so I'm going to go 9 out of 10. Please do leave your thoughts, feedback and comments below. I'd love to hear them. And until next time, make sure you enjoy those flicks and figs.